Hey guys, Martin here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so we know that coming up in this week we are getting the 40th anniversary celebration campaign crossover summon banner. Obviously technically the celebration campaign has already started, but the banner is going to be coming out on Thursday morning for me, late Wednesday evening for you guys, along with, I say you guys, those of you who I know are in the US. Shout out to everyone who is UK or EU around the same time, and then all you guys who are even further ahead, like in Australia and stuff like that. It's going to be sometime Thursday afternoon for you, but we know that that's coming out this week, so that pretty much covers everything that's going on this week, because the limited attempt event where you can get the skill orbs for the characters obviously doesn't come out until the banner comes out as well. We got a new Petan with the manga cards arts coming out on the 13th, so the week after, but that's essentially it as far as we know, leading up until, I guess technically even the very end of this week, right? So leading up to like the 15th to the 17th of November. So the big question for the video, and what we're going to talk about, is when are the Heroes EZAs going to come out, and what else is going to be happening? Because if we look at this stuff, we can obviously see that, you know, Daima Goku only came out last week, right? He's only been out for a few days, and then the manga banner comes out in a couple of days time. So with that releasing still very early on in November, that leaves us with the whole of the rest of November to go without any other content. Because if we jump over to the wiki and take a look at the last couple of years in terms of the releases, we have basically always gone into November in the middle of another celebration and gotten some EZAs and things like that in the early part of the month. Then of course Heroes has taken up a decent amount of time in the November time slot, and then we go on to the end of November, which is where we then get another new Dokkan Fest, right? So last year we got the Tech Buhan, who released on the 29th. The year before that was the Android 21, who released on the 30th. And then the year before that was the Yamcha, who released on the 30th. So we could go back a couple more years, but it's just to show the last couple of years, there's always been a new Dokkan Fest dropping at the end of November. Now, the thing is, with this year, we obviously are not going to have a Heroes celebration anymore. We know that the last one was the last one. However, they did say that they would continue to do the EZAs for the units that had not yet received them, which means those are going to happen at some point. And since we are now back to November, it has been almost an entire year since the previous Heroes celebration, and we have not seen those EZAs come out yet. One can only assume that they are still sticking to this kind of November time slot for those EZAs, but the question is, when are they going to release? Now, one of the things that I looked up is last year, with a bit of the difference in the scheduling, obviously Global didn't need to fit in the Tanabata celebration later on into the year, because we basically got the Tech UI Goku almost right after the anniversary. So last year for the Hero celebration, with the one that included the Universe Tree Goku, I don't know why I've only got the SSR up here, but the date's the only important thing. These last year's Hero celebration started on the 12th of November. So bear in mind that going by this timeline, that would obviously be like next week sometime. This Thursday when the manga stuff comes out is the 6th. And then we already saw in the news that the Thursday after that, which is the 13th, that's when the Petan starts that has the manga art cards. So in theory, if this was going to be the same sort of time slot, it would be the 13th, I would imagine. However, that would obviously then leave us with what, 2 almost 4 weeks of November left, with no other actual like new release. Because this is the big thing to remember about this Heroes, like the Heroes EZAs, is we're getting the EZAs for the characters that don't have them, or at least for some of them, but we're not getting any new Heroes units. They're not doing new Heroes units anymore, and so that's the thing that has kind of led to the speculation up until this point, like until they revealed the Daima Goku time slot, that we could still be getting some new sort of like crossover Dokkan Fest or special event where the Heroes units will then go ahead and drop. Because in previous years, when Global had to fit in the Tanabata celebration somewhere, the Hero celebration had started a little bit later. So you can see here 2023, which was the release of the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, that was the 22nd of November. So it's like a full 10 days early last year's Hero celebration compared to the years before, because not only was it the 22nd of November for 2023, but then the year before that with the Limit Breakers, who of course are the units that are going to EZA this year, it was also the 22nd of November, but obviously for 2022. So if we look at that kind of time slot again, that puts us in a spot where I guess the 22nd is a Saturday. So with all these things coming out on the varying different Thursdays, like the manga banner's on the 6th, Petan's on the 13th, we could be looking at around the 20th for something to happen. And then that would carry us through, I guess, like the last 2 weeks of the month. So the question is, what are they going to drop alongside the Heroes EZAs? And I think that is probably the bigger question. Like, whilst that will obviously lead to the answer of when are the Heroes EZAs going to happen, the bigger question is, what are they going to drop alongside those releases? Because these units are going to EZA, right? We've got the Limit Breakers, we got the normal Super Saiyan 4 Bardock and Gohan, we got Hearts, we got Rebel, and we got Corrupted Spring Card Time. These guys are going to drop. Now, in theory, I don't actually know. There's been some speculation because people were saying, like, if they can't do Heroes EZAs, they can't do new characters, can they even do a banner, like, for the EZA characters? I'm assuming they can, because they're units that are obviously already in the game. Like, they could do a repeat banner. And also, someone did mention, I'm not entirely sure, all of the technicalities and legalities, especially in Japan, around, like, gacha law, but it may even be an actual requirement that if these units are, if like these limited units, because the hero is obviously only available very specific times, if these limited units are getting an EZA, I think that someone was saying that there's the potential that they are like required to do a banner so that people do actually have some possibility of being able to get them. So that I don't think is necessarily in question. I think we will get an EZA banner, because at the end of the day, they're giving these Heroes units EZAs. Hopefully they will be good. They want people to be able to then summon for them if they are good, which for some people will then mean spending money to buy stones. Whereas if there's no EZA banner, the EZAs only benefit the people who already have the units and don't really give any way for Dokkan to make any extra money, which we know they obviously will want to do. So we know we're going to get, I say we know, so we're operating under the understanding that we're going to get a banner with the EZAs. Now, we're getting the manga units banner this week, so that's another like random banner. It's a little bit cheaper, which is nice, 30 stones per multi, 3 guaranteed units. Like, you could get very lucky, you could like rainbow the whole banner in like, you know, under 200 stones potentially. So then this Heroes EZA banner is going to drop alongside the EZAs, assumingly. So then is it going to be the case of they drop the Heroes EZAs on their own with a Heroes EZA banner, no other real content to speak of, and then literally, what, like a week later, then another Dokkan Fest comes out as well? Which means that, like, if we're still operating by the, like, Thursdays kind of thing, this would then end up being, like, the 29th. The 29th would end up being the 27th, which means that starting from this week, we'd have a new banner coming out on, like, the 6th, the 20th, and the 27th, which is kind of crazy. A lot of banners have come out in a very short time, obviously going from the part 2 of the baby celebration LR straight into Daima Goku fairly quickly as well. There's a lot been going on recently, and on the one hand I can kind of understand, like, from the business aspect, like Dokkan is just doing this thing now, like they're dropping a bunch of banners in the build up towards the anniversary to encourage people to spend stones or like spend their anniversary fund, so that they're either spending money now or spending money when it comes to the anniversary. But that's a lot of stuff to fit in all in one go. So I think the other possibility that we could see is that the November time slot Dokkan Fest, which we again know is roughly around this time each year, this could be replaced with a crossover. I say replaced, it's still essentially going to be a filler Dokkan Fest, but replaced with a crossover character, and then the Heroes EZAs drop then, because even though it means like a Dokkan Fest banner and an EZA banner being out at the same time, that's not something we haven't seen before. And of course, you know, I can only speak for myself. When I say about gacha lore and them requiring a banner and stuff like that, that will be helpful to some people that do want to try and get copies of those heroes EZAs. But obviously for me, I have all the heroes units rainbowed from this banner, so I don't need there to be a banner. I just need them to get their EZAs. So for me, both those banners dropping at the same time isn't a huge issue because I wouldn't be summoning on the EZA banner anyway. But I suppose realistically, in the grand scheme of things, if they're dropping a certain amount of banners within the month, it doesn't really matter whether the Heroes EZA banner comes out a week before the new Dokkan Fest banner or if it comes out on the same day. Same day is more likely if the Dokkan Fest is going to be something crossover related. The only thing, of course, is if you're someone who does want to try and summon for copies of the EZAs, if they are good, if they drop the banner, let's say it was on the 20th, and then the next Dokkan Fest comes out on the 27th, you're going to have to either wait to summon until, you know, we get to a few days before and we actually find out who the new upcoming unit is and how good they are, before you then decide how you want to spend your stones. Otherwise, you're going to summon for the Heroes EZAs, and then potentially a week later the new Dokkan Fest comes out and it could be like one of your favorite characters from the franchise, and you're going to have regretted spending stones on the Heroes banner. So the thing is, all of this is just speculation at the end of the day. Like, even between last year and the year before, the fact that the Heroes celebration was like 10 days apart, not even like 1 week exactly, but like 10 days apart. So they could fill the rest of the month essentially any way they choose, but it's got to drop somewhere in between now and the end of the month, if they are going to do it for November, of course, because otherwise, if they're sticking with this sort of time frame, where the next Dokkan Fest exclusive is going to come out right at the end of November, let's say again, just using the Thursdays kind of pattern that it's going to be the 27th, that means we get the manga banner come out in a couple of days, and then basically nothing else happens in the game aside from like Petan and maybe some new stages or something, like for like 3 weeks. So it feels very unlikely that this week we got the manga banner, we got the extra stage because you're going to be able to do the rest of the missions, get the stage for the skill orbs, get the comic books to get the stage for the wallpaper. I think all the rest of the missions are supposed to be out once the banner comes out. Then the week after is just Petan, as far as we know now. So there's got to be something else coming in that week. And then, yeah, after that, it would then still be... I mean, we're not going to get a week where the only thing that happens is Petan comes out on Thursday, and then there's 2 more weeks of nothing until the end of November Dokkan Fest comes out. So, as we have no thing in the news already, and I doubt they would just suddenly shadow drop them right at the same time as the manga units, the earliest I think we could see the Heroes banner is going to be the 13th, or at least the Heroes EZAs is going to be the 13th. But if they do end up combining them with a Dokkan Fest to bring out like a new crossover Dokkan Fest, they could move this November time slot, end of November, like Buhan here, maybe up a week. We could see the 20th, Thursday the 20th, would be interesting, because that's like 3 weeks removed from Daimagoku. It's only 2 weeks removed from the manga banner, but 3 weeks removed from Daimagoku. We then get a crossover Dokkan Fest and the Heroes EZAs. But honestly, if I had to guess, just looking at all the timelines and the different like things over the previous years, I feel like the best way for them to fit this in would be to drop the Dokkan Fest on the 27th. Hopefully, because again, it's something that I would like to see, but drop it on the 27th with it being something crossover related, and then drop all the Heroes stuff, the Heroes EZAs and everything at the same time. Now, in theory, they don't even have to make the Heroes unit a crossover character to drop the EZAs, right? The EZAs can essentially be packaged in with any other celebration. It just makes sense for it to be something crossover related, right? We know Xenoverse is getting even more DLC, and a lot of people are speculating about Xenoverse 3. I know it's something like it's been confirmed to be in production, but no other real details are really known. Something like that would be super cool, because obviously we have all the Xeno, like Trunkses and a bunch of other Xenoverse characters that we always talk about that still need to get EZAs and things like that. So hopefully it will be something crossover, but it doesn't even have to be. So my prediction is probably going to be that it's not going to come out until the very end of the month, alongside the other Dokkan Fest. Although I do think there is a very solid chance that they move it to a week earlier, to the 20th, because like I say, otherwise we get the manga stuff come out on the 6th this week, and then we get nothing for like 21 days, which Dokkan's had some dead periods, especially at this time of year, but that seems pretty unlikely to be, but obviously I guess we will have to wait and see. Anything could happen, anything could get announced in like next week as something to fill out those empty weeks, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. When do you think they are going to fit in the Heroes EZAs? When do you think they are going to release the next Dokkan Fest? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ninja, and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.